Hi, welcome to Moonlit Fly Fishing's Fly Tying Night tonight. I'm Brandon Moon, and we're going to be tying up a frog style popper, slider, whatever you want to call it, pattern for fishing bass or even trout in the right conditions. Awesome pattern, real easy to tie, real fast, very effective, and sure to bring fish to your net. So we call this the Rocky Bullfrog Slider, and I call it the Rocky Bullfrog because I grew up watching Rocky and Bullwinkle. And Rocky is the flying squirrel, and we incorporate the Moonlit Pine Squirrel in this pattern. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started and enjoy. Today, the hook that we're going to be using is the Moonlit Premium Tagata ML 466. It's the stinger type hook and a 2X heavy, 2X strong hook. So it's going to help kill out the extra foam on this pattern. We're going to use Semperfli's Classic Wax Floral Green in the 3/0 because it's a larger fly. We want the larger thread. We're going to start that right behind the eye of the hook, and we're going to build up a nice good thread base to this. You're not going to see this, but I'm going to use some glue, and I want a nice smooth base so that I can grip this with my glue and the foam. So we're going to wrap that all the way back to the bend of the hook. Use my razor blade, trim out the end pieces. I've pre-measured some Pale Olive Moonlit Pine Squirrel strips that are going to be from the start of the hook all the way to the back end of that bend of the hook. So just a little over about 1 1/4 hook shank length. I'm going to take and tie that in on the side with the hair on the outside, and we'll wrap that down and secure it down nice and good. And then we're going to take the other strip and do the exact same thing. We'll secure that down. You can strip off the hair pieces on this if you'd like. I don't do that just because it's going to be covered up. It's just more time, but you can prep this and get a bunch of these tied really fast. So we're going to secure that down nice and tight. I'm going to go and kind of wrap underneath the leg. I don't want to pull that over the top and crimp it down, but I want to kind of help spread the legs with my thread with some wraps. So I'll go under and then over with crisscross type wraps just to kind of use some thread to splay out those legs just a little bit. Now I'm going to move my thread to about the 1/2 point mark. At this point, I'm going to take some Loctite super glue, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there on the back side on the top. And I'm just going to put a nice little bit on there. I'm now going to take some 2mm foam in the Frogger green, cut to the gape of the hook. I'm going to place that on top where the tip end of that is going to go just to where my tail starts. I'm putting the glue on here so that when it grips and dries, it's going to help keep the foam from wanting to rotate on you. So just push that so that it's nice and secure down there. I'll turn it over. I'm going to take some 2mm yellow foam and do just the exact same thing I just did with the 2mm Frogger green. We'll just secure that down. I'm going to pull the foam pieces back so that I can wrap up to the eye of the hook. I'm going to take a little more of that glue just to help secure that foam down again. We'll just put a nice little bit on there. I don't need a ton, just enough to help grip that foam. I'm going to pull the foam forward, kind of pinch it down, and gauge so that I'm wrapping right there at the eye of the hook for these 2 pieces of foam. I'll take my time just to make sure I get it in the location I want before I cinch it down. Check it again. It's in the right spot, so I'll give it a good couple wraps. Tighten it down nice and good. Now I'm going to crisscross over the top to that middle section there. I'm going to take some Semperfli Silly Legs, Chartreuse, and Gold Flake. You can use any silly legs you want or any silicone legs. I've cut these in half, and then I'm going to tie them in loosely on the top and then slide them down to the middle. I'll pull both of the legs back, and I'm doing it this way so that I've got a nice secure tie-in point and the legs aren't going to be pulled out when the fish take and strike this fly. I'll cut the second piece to length. The first piece I measure out to be just to the back end of the body there. Now I'm going to take my foam and pull it back over the top. 2 wraps, secure that down nice and tight. Now we'll just trim that out. And then I'm going to cut just at a little bit of an angle that tag end piece. Now we're going to flip our yellow foam back over the top. This is going to create our head and kind of give us that nice slide popping bulge when we're stripping this fly in. Two wraps just like before. We'll trim out that tag end piece and then cut a little bit of an angle again, just so that we have a nice taper on that. We'll go back over the top. I'm going to put a little bit of super glue on my thread here before I whip finish this. And this is just going to help secure my knot as I whip finish and give a nice durable whip. So we'll take that thread. You'll see that it kind of disperses into the thread as we wrap it and do the whip. I'll do 2 or 3 turns, making sure I don't capture any of the legs in there. I'm going to use my razor blade and trim that out. All right, now we're getting close to being done. We're going to take some black alcohol markers with the fine point. You can see a nice fine point there, and I'm going to create some eyes on the side there, on both sides, as close to the same spot as I can. Okay, awesome. Now we've got the eyes on this pattern. What about the frog skin? So I'm just going to take that same black marker and I'm just going to place some dots, just like a dotted spotted frog, and give us a nice frog looking pattern here. Double check it, make sure it is how I like, and there you go.